The number one thing that can and will improve your social life the most, if there's one high leverage thing that can change everything, do you want to know what it is? Welcome in, much love, Trap here. Morning walk back in the train tracks at Arcata, down in the marsh. A couple more days here before I'm headed up to Portland, continuing this wild adventure of my life. And yesterday, I got back to my box here in Arcata of things and found some old notes over the past year and started to flip through them and came upon some old video topics that I talked about: improving your social life, social systems, how we actually meet people. We meet people through our work, through our school, through random encounters. If we approach or are approached, we meet people through meetings, through introductions. We meet people through living situation. So I also saw that in those notes, I wanted to improve my social life. I wanted more time. I wanted to work with more people, more time around people. And the nice thing is those notes are a year old, so I actually went off and did a lot of those things, especially in Hawaii, on Oahu, and on the Big Island, by checking out some different living situations. So let's talk about that. The highest leverage thing you can do to improve your living situation. Also got this advice from Tai Lopez. If you have more money, one of the first things you should do. Let's talk about some low leverage things. Okay, these things are good, but they aren't the number one. So we're gonna work our way up. One of them is to start approaching and opening people, right? If I just talk to people, then I'm going to meet more people. It's going to improve my social life. The problem with this is, come on, like, do I really need to go around and approach? It doesn't feel that natural, and it's not necessary, but it is a nice skill to have, the approach. Another one is work, and that's a disadvantage if you work online, like me. You meet people through the internet, and you eventually meet them in person, but your day-to-day, I came out here alone in the morning. That's fine. I choose to spend some of my time alone. That's good. But you change your work, you start to meet people through your work. That's a big thing, right? That's huge. Okay. If your work is social, it's the right people, because you're not just trying to meet people, but you're trying to meet the right people. That's something I'd written in my notes. Meet the right people. What else? Okay. You have, your school and so on. That you have encounters. This builds us up to the number one highest leverage thing you can do to improve your social life, is improve your living situation so that you're meeting people through your living situation. Let me explain what I mean. So if you have an apartment by yourself, and I'm going to contrast, you have an apartment by yourself and you invite friends over, occasionally someone will bring someone else, and you'll meet someone through your living situation. Or you talk to the person next to you, your neighbor, and you meet someone. But it's not going to be very effective. It's going to force you to go out and meet people in all sorts of other ways. And it's normal, society considers it normal, but it's not very effective. And you can still have a good, healthy social life if you have your little bachelor pad or your studio apartment. But you can't expect to meet very many people through it, right? On the other hand, if you're living in a village that has a cafe, that has people coming on, you're gonna meet so many people through your living situation. That's the situation I had in Hawaii. It's like I'm meeting too many people through my living situation. Not, too many to interact with everyone. Like I'm getting introduced, I'm working with. The work is also part of the living situation. So I found that, this is crazy, my social life is so good. What has really changed? Only thing that's really changed is my living situation. All of a sudden, my living situation is bringing a bunch of people. And living situation is important because that's where you're going to generally spend the majority of your time. It's where you're going to sleep. It's where you're going to do some of your eating, or a lot of your eating. It's where you're going to wake up. And you want to be able to meet. You can still go out and meet people in all the other ways, through encounters, through work, through introductions, through sports and games and basketball and stuff like that. But that's fucking really high leverage, right? If your social situation all of a sudden is bringing a ton of people. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go live on a farm, because there's other ways to do this. I mean, think back, maybe you have gone to school, maybe you haven't. If you live in the dorms or a fraternity or a sorority or something like that, those are social houses and they're designed for you to meet people through the living situation. So I met a lot of people through my living situation in the dorms when I was in school. However, it wasn't necessarily the right people, so you have to think about who the right people are for you and how you can get them. After I lived in the dorms, I lived with some roommates. There was like 10 of us in the house. I didn't know all of them to start, so I got to meet some of them by living with them. And then the guys would throw parties or have people over, and suddenly I'm meeting people through them. So it was a very social house. And that's probably more realistic for a lot of you. And I'm not saying you need 10 people in the house or anything like that. But if you host events occasionally, if your roommates host events or your roommate hosts events, you bring people into your life. And even if you're married and have kids, come on, do you really want to have zero social interaction at your home besides that? No. You want to bring people into your life. You want to bring people into your partner's life. You want to bring people into your kid's life too, right? So one of the ways, I'm not very good at this one. If possible, I prefer to live in the village or something like that. But if you play a good host and live with somebody who plays a good host and invite people over, throw mixers, you throw your own networking events, suddenly you're meeting a ton of people through your house, you're meeting a ton of people through your living situation, and your social life improves because it's all in your space too. It makes it easy, makes it way more effortless. So that's one thing to think about. For you, think about your living situation and how it applies to your social life. Is it helping you meet more people? Is it not helping you meet people? What can you do to change it? Is there small tweaks you can make? Inviting people, throwing a few events, throwing a game night here, throwing a mixer, throwing a party, something like that, talking to your roommates, right? Or can you change it totally? Is it just, it's just not too many problems, need a new situation? Maybe there's a high leverage moment. Yeah, it's hard, but take that jump, make that change, and you could have massive improvement. So I'm on the move right now. I'm traveling. I'm rolling through a lot of people's places. I'm seeing a ton of living situations. Some of them are totally different. Some of them are better than others. Some of the places meeting tons of people through the living situation. Some of the places I'm meeting none, and it makes a big difference. Now, when I say improve social life, obviously we're talking about meeting people here, but also just having richer relationships. Although there's definitely times for downtime, you know. My current situation here, I'm sleeping on my buddy's couch. I'm not really meeting too many people through that house, but that's fine because I have time to write. I have time to produce. So there's seasons and that's okay. So, but I'd love to hear from you how your living situation is working for you. If you feel like you're not meeting enough people, then maybe that's the one thing that you should really focus on and see what you can do to improve it. You fucking live there, you spend most of the time. Again, that was some advice from Tai Lopez as well. Like the first time you have more money, improve your living situation. Not necessarily like, you know, a ritzier place, but a better place, right? Have a better place with the right people so you can meet the right people. So let me know what you think. Look forward to hearing what you have to say in the comments. Peace out. Much love.